Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
How you doing, y'all? It's Bremer Baden.
Hell yeah. Hello.
How you doing, man?
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, like where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your start with music.
Well, I was born in the city of Chicago. I was raised in a town called Skokie, which was like 20 minutes out.
Okay.
In the north suburbs.
Yeah.
I was raised in a Jewish family. Had a bar mitzvah, all that cool stuff.
Okay.
We lived like pretty conservatively. They weren't really big fans of hip hop, so I kind of grew up on everything else.
Oh, gotcha.
So like the contemporary music, even bluegrass, country, to each his own.
Yeah.
Country music, just pretty much anything. The Beatles are like a huge part of my life.
I could believe that.
Jethro Tull's a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
Mata Hoople is a ginormous part of my life.
Yep.
And the list goes on. I can go for days, but yeah, no. Really started getting into it when I was like 10 years old. Just started freestyling with my brother here and there, and I was terrible, but
I think we all are in the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yo, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I was just a kid. Like, I didn't know what I was doing or saying.
No, totally.
Or I'm trying to be all like hip hoppy and stuff, but I live in a rich suburb in a white neighborhood.
How did you get it? How did you get introduced to it initially?
It's kind of funny that, so in 2001, I was in third grade, right? Mm-hmm. And Dr. Dre's 2001 The Chronic came out.
Okay.
And obviously my parents were going to buy it for my birthday. No way.
Yeah.
My brother knew that, and he actually ended up finding an instrumental copy of it.
Oh, okay.
And giving it to me in CD, and I just listened. I took it to summer camp with me.
Whoa.
And I listened to it all summer, all just the same CD over and over again. I mean, I had that, remember back in the day you had those booklets of CDs?
Holy.
I had 30 CDs in there. That's the only one I listened to. And then I started just kind of bringing my friends over. I'm like, check these out. Do you think we could rap on these? I didn't know what copyrights or infringement was, but I was eager to learn.
So he handed you basically incredible beats.
Yeah.
And was just here you go. And that was your first real introduction to it. So you basically got given the grail of music at the time.
At the time.
What became incredible music. Yeah. Especially once the vocals were on top, he just gave you those and was here, use your imagination.
Use your imagination.
Holy, that might actually be the coolest way to introduce the style to young artists ever.
Yeah.
Instead of being hey, learn how to make your own thing, do all that, only introduce them to the instrumentals first.
Seriously.
Whoa.
It was nuts, man, because I didn't actually hear the actual CD until 2008.
What was that like?
Just having those instrumentals?
Well, hearing the lyrics after so long.
It was unlike anything I ever imagined. To be honest, I'm oh, this is way more gritty than I thought. I thought, because I heard, you had Dr. Dre and Eminem on the radio with the nowadays everybody want to talk,
Yeah.
He had this one song called Take It to the House, and there was other ones too. But that album specifically, that was just, I listened to it front to back, just on vinyl, and it was I was 12 years old. Don't tell mom and dad, And so no, it was eye opening for sure.
No, definitely.
He had this one called The Message with Mary J. Blige. It's number 20. Mm-hmm. It's the end, but it was just so
man, I love when late in the album tracks just hit. It's always really enjoyable when they're oh, they save good stuff for last.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you've made it that far, you're there for the journey. You know what I mean? Hell yeah. But that was a great tangent, but let's get back into the format. You already kind of nixed some of the cool questions though. So we're gonna jump to one that we kind of baked in early for this, but we're gonna do it now. Who was somebody that inspired you as an artist early on?
As just an artist in general?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a really good question. I just grew up on a lot of different varieties. I would have to say, like, man, that's a good question. You know what really stuck out to me? You know who's a really good artist that I really look to is Enya.
Oh,
Enya is
hell
like, yo, I love me some Enya.
Mm-hmm.
And there was
who can say where the road goes?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
This is not the first time Enya's been referenced on this show, just so you know.
Have you ever seen the music video for Caribbean Blue before?
I have not.
You have to watch that.
It's
like a whole storybook thing.
I don't know if I'm ready for an Enya music video.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's incredible. I don't know if my soul is ready for that. Like that feels like when I'm done, I'll need a moment. You know what I mean?
You'll never need another acid trip again.
No, I can't. Oh my man, I can't even imagine. God, yeah, that's
beautiful.
Don't ask me why. I've never even considered they had music videos until right this moment.
Either.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, at them in the comments, and let's see if we can get Enya to just do live music on here.
Oh man, that'd be amazing.
And then we're running through kind of the foundation questions to get to know you before we dive into you as the current artist.
Right.
So another one that we ask early is what was one of the first shows that you ever went to that was like one that you wanted to go to?
That I actually like wanted.
Yeah, that you were like
to?
You saw it was happening and you made it happen to be able to go to it.
Oh man. Because, like, you know, early on, I wasn't really, like, much of a concert guy. Just because we would go to my brother's gigs and stuff like that,
so
too.
You were just used to it.
And I was just used. Yeah, at that point, I was just like, hey, you know, like oh, you want to go see the Eagles in concert? I'm like, nah. Not really. But one show that I really wanted to go to, it was the Chicago Symphony, featuring Savion Glover, the world famous like African American tap dancer.
Hell yeah!
And this guy is like crazy. I've never seen anybody's feet move this fast. But they're playing like they're playing all this orchestra music, concertos and sonatas and all this, and he's just like tapping on rhythm. It was like the most like captivating thing I've ever seen. And then like the month after that, we went back. And we saw a whole score of John Williams music. Because, John Williams, he did the music for Harry Potter, for Star Wars, for Indiana Jones, for Schindler's List, and like all of these like big, huge, and you heard Imperial March. You heard, the Harry Potter theme song. You heard like all of this, like, they went through every single one. You just recognize it, and there was a bunch of kids there my age. And so it was really cool, like it was just one of the coolest moments. And I was like, no, I really want to do something like this. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it.
That's wild.
Right.
It's cool that it sounds like you have even though your current sound is your current sound and you do what you do, it's cool that you have a really like well-rounded understanding of music. Like having that knowledge and just experience really goes a long way as far as like hearing creative sounds, you know what I mean? Having a little bit more of it, like an expanded palette.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true though. And it helps because you can you can intricate like other sounds and you can take inspiration from like every single genre, even from like classical music too. Like there's different like cadences of like string, there's different cadences on the instruments that you can translate into flows if you like it.
I think a lot of people sometimes fail to realize that classical music set up a lot of the structures that we use.
It did.
Like, especially in like a discussional platform.
Absolutely.
But like classical, like everybody's like, oh, it's just everybody doing the same things over and over. Oh, it's just cover songs, which it technically is. I think that's a fun take for me. But
true that.
But like, the structure comes, like the structure at least that we use in, Western music, I guess, as it's described. There's just so much foundation in it that like if you can grow to appreciate it, you start to learn that it's not so much about the vibe as it is like the expression. You learn about music expression in classical music.
Exactly, and there's a lot of like we as like, artists, we don't like give a lot of credit to classical music. Like if there was no Johann Sebastian Bach, there'd be no rock and roll, because what are guitar solos? It's just floating between different scales.
Exactly.
That's all it really is. And who invented that? Bach did.
Exactly.
So like there's a lot there when it comes to like classical music did form rock and roll. You had a lot of blues that like, you know, you like James, like blues instance, like was a big factor. Blues and funk and disco, even a splash of disco. Oh, yeah. Like none of those things existed, hip hop wouldn't existed. You know, like James Brown and Clyde Stubblefield, like those are like some of the pillars, like Bootsy Collins, like those are some of the pillars of like what makes it, you know? And it's just really cool.
It's interesting to see music like as it like travels through genres and like becomes other ones too, because while it's not just telling a story of the time present, like it's cool to see like old become new, like because you know there's only so many ways to play notes at the end of the day,
right?
Like technically every note has been played in every order at least once through the entire throes of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, no, as long as you don't get into like semitones and things like that, we're not going to get into microtonal nonsense. Yeah, I don't know how that stuff works.
First and second inversion.
I'm not here for it.
Nightmare, man.
But like, you know, it's fun to see music evolve, even when it stays the same. And like the introduction of like sounds into other sounds and things like that. The music is really expansive, and it's really just it's enjoyable to see it as it grows and changes. But we're here to talk about you. So we've got one last question to ask for the foundation.
Yeah, of course.
And this one's kind of a denser one. But what was the moment where you realized that music was something you wanted to like do, not just something you kind of would do?
Like actually like...
Yeah, like it was your thing.
Oh, man. It's kind of funny because I played baseball for a long time, and like I remember having a really bad coach, like it was terrible. And that's all I'll get, you know. I hope he's doing well now, you know, like, but like he was just back then he was just terrible. But I ended up like started like, you know, I would go to the AV lab in high school. I would skip practice all the time. I'm like, I'm not gonna play for you, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so I would go to the AV lab and I would just like sit there and I'm like, you know, I was just clicking around, you know, just pretty interesting. I click on GarageBand. Okay. Someone was like, "Oh, hey, you know, you want to make music? Like, you can do it digitally on this."
Yeah. And
I'm like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's GarageBand." And I'm like, "No." And the AV guy is like showing me how, because you can like stay in the AV lab for like 3 hours after school. So that's what I would do.
Oh, dope.
And so I went in there and I started making beats through GarageBand, through loops and this and that. And I'd come home with like CDs of beats that I made. I mean, of course, all of them were just like sampled stuff, but like still putting them together. And then I rapped over one of them.
Okay.
At my brother's wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was it? Rehearsed?
Yeah, very.
Okay. Just making sure you were just gonna go and freestyle.
No. I was 15. I was 15, and I was just like up at night I was just up at night, and I was like, I want to.
As 15-year-olds tend to be. Yeah. Sleep.
Right. I ended up writing this song called "What's My Name." And it was just kind of an intro, you know, and it was like, you know, like back in the day, it was like super corny, you know, but like I had I listened to a lot of Kanye West, and so I was just kind of trying to implement in flows and then fractions that he says. And so I did it at the wedding, and it like cracked off. I had no idea it would be like this great.
Hell yeah.
And they're like, "Whoa, what was that, man? Like, what was all that?" You know, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay." You know, like, okay,
you're like,
cool.
"Oh, that, meh."
I'm like, that's cool, right?
Yeah. Oh, that old thing. Yeah, I just had it lying around.
Yeah, but it was really a trial run for me. I was like, okay, look, like if you get another good crowd response, like you're gonna do this for real. And so I went to summer camp that day, that summer, and like it's got 2,000 kids.
You just left the wedding. You're like, I'm going to summer camp now.
Literally next week, I was off. Like literally, it was like, it was like really, really quick. And so I ended up doing the talent show there, and I was like the last act of like the whole night.
Okay, you're the headliner.
Yeah, like I had 3 more weeks left of camp, and like I couldn't go anywhere without someone singing the song, coming over, "What's my name? Bad." And I'm just like, yeah, I've got to do this for real now.
Hell yeah.
This is real.
Yeah. Now, when you first did it, like, were you nervous?
Very.
Because like that's steep to first go from like in front of not just your like immediate family,
right?
But like it's a wedding, so I assume majority of family.
Yeah, and
so all your family, and then just thousands of your peers.
Yeah,
and that's a week apart.
Yeah, just like a jump. You're like, I had to like mentally prepare for it. Yeah. No, I was very nervous because I'd played piano like classically for like a while, and so I'd have recitals and stuff. But I was so used to it.
Yeah,
because you didn't have to sit there and like rap and use your voice.
And you're not even looking directly at people when you're playing. You know what I mean? You're looking at the piano. Yeah.
And even then, I'd be sweating because I'm just like, just look at the notes. Just look at the notes. And even then, you'd have to like, you know, like some of my teachers, I'd have to memorize it. But like, I was very nervous. I was like pacing back and forth. We had this like art center amphitheater thing at our camp. Mm-hmm. And I was inside and like pacing back and forth, watching the other talents go out, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like pacing. And they announced me. And some bozo forgot to come get me. So I'm in the back corner, like his palms are sweaty, and he's weak, arms are heavy, you know what I'm saying? And like...
You've already preloaded on spaghetti, you're ready.
Right? And like, one of the counselors came and they're like, yo, you're on. And I'm like, well, thanks for telling me. Like, I'm back here losing myself. And I go out there, you know, everyone cheers. And I'm like, you know, my name's Ben Baden. Shout out to my cabin, you know, shout out to, you know, the unit I'm in and I just started going. And it was just like dope. And it was a whole crowd response thing. So I was like, what's my name? Ben Baden. You know, it's like, it was really, really, it was really dope.
Hell yeah.
It was dope. It was really, really dope.
It sounds like you found the formula that works for you really early.
It did, yeah.
And that's cool. Not everybody gets that, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And like, I mean, like it's obvious you were tenacious through the process.
Very.
But it's cool that like the first 2 moments that you went and did it were like definable ones.
No, definitely. Because I would come back home and like go to school and you'd see all these kids like, you know, beating on the lunch tables, trying to rap. And I'm like, you guys don't even know what I just did this summer.
Listen here, guys.
You guys don't even know. I even tried to join in once because they would always rap on the Lil Wayne and Millie beat because that was really huge back then. And they're like, nah, you don't know how to rap. And I'm like, bro, if you knew where I just was and just did this summer, like, you're lucky I'm not rapping.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Like, I don't know if you know this, but... At summer camps, at Jewish summer camps, I'm huge.
Hell yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah.
It was cool.
Hell yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and let's get to know you as the artist.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're going to get the easy one out of the way. How'd you pick your name?
Bremer is actually my middle name.
Okay.
And so my real name's Benjamin Bremer Baden.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, easy enough.
I didn't have that name first, though.
What was the first name?
The first name was B-Dub, man.
Okay.
B-Dub, yeah. Okay. It's like, that's his favorite one, for sure.
I mean, it's not bad. Like, I mean, I'm going to say it's generic. It's generic, but it's not, no. There are some bad ones. That is like middle of the road.
Like Jay Dizzle.
Like, yeah, there are just some ones where it's like, you know, like Baby Eater. You're like, oh, come on. You don't have to. Also, if that's not taken, somebody should take that. That's a good one.
That's probably already someone's gamer tag or something right? Like that.
Hell yeah. But no, I mean, definitely current one.
It was.
Much
I
better.
was very proud of it though. Like back when, and so like I rocked with it for a long time, and then I'm like, you know, the music kind of wasn't hitting, so I kind of like changed. I went through a lot of names, man. I was really into really into Doves, so I called myself Dove at one point. And then that's a whole company, so I stopped doing that.
Fair. That's not exactly the branding you need to go for.
Right.
You'll never be the first thing Googled.
No, never, right?
No.
Exactly. And so then I was thinking of just going with B3N, you know, just the E turned backwards.
Okay.
But then I was like, how can I like really make this stick?
Yeah.
And Bremer was actually like my Polish grandmother's last name on my dad's side. Yeah, and then Baden's like my German grandfather's name on my dad's side. And so like I was like, well, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
And so I was like, like, I think I'm going to try this. And so I put out a song, like, as Bremer Baden, and it just started sticking.
Oh, there you go.
It just started sticking, and it's just like I'm the only Bremer Baden, like, you can Google. And
exactly.
you know, it's like, it's just something that's so, like, so original. Because I was trying to go with Bremer before, but there was already, like, a Dutch EDM group called Bremer and McCoy. Shout out to Bremer McCoy.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Bremer McCoy.
And so, like, they had already taken that Bremer slot. Bremer over there had already taken that slot.
Gotcha.
I guess it's a very common Polish name over there.
Gotcha.
But over here in the United States, it's not, which I took full advantage of.
Yeah.
And I was so blessed to like have that like foreign opportunity. You know, like I definitely want to go to Poland. sometime.
Yeah, where everybody already knows your name.
Yep. Yeah. Like, your name is Bremer. My name's Bremer. Like, no. So it was cool. So I'm kind of carrying the family name with me. We went and saw their grave sites like last couple summers ago, and so it just kind of like solidified the whole Bremer Baden thing too. Like I never knew them, and so if I could carry anything that could like resemble something, even getting close to my grandparents, then then that was it.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Now let's go ahead and talk about your writing process. And first, I want to focus on when you get inspired. So you're in the mood. We'll jump past that stuff.
Yeah.
Music is clearly on the docket. What are the things that you do to like get a song started?
To get a song started, okay. Well, first, what I would do is I would actually, I'd pick a beat, and it's only got to be something that like. Like we'll be in the studio, and if it doesn't hit in like the first 5 seconds, then we skip it because it's a wise man once said like if it doesn't hit in the first 5 seconds, then you're not. There's no instinct anymore. Now you're trying to please something. Yeah,
exactly.
That you're not.
Exactly. You're trying to make it work instead of just like feeling the inspiration in the moment.
Like it's like a more obligatory. Like if anything,
there's something to be said when the beat is the muse. You know? What I mean?
And sometimes there are beats that are just like I'll write to it just for marketing's sake, but then there's those ones that are just like really.
Yeah.
And so then what I'll do next is I won't necessarily write lyrics yet. I'll just come up with the rhythm, and so like it's called rhythm. And so what you do instead of like spitting lyrics, it's just like you find the cadence and stuff.
Yeah,
and just like I would start doing that, and I would just like kind of pace around my house a little bit, like, and just maybe do dishes and just kind of like listen to this beat over and over again, and just like, and then when I find it, then I'll start writing the hook.
Yeah.
And so like I'll start kind of doing the rhythm and cadences like for hooks and stuff like that too, because once you get those melodies down, like that's like the hardest thing, because you gotta catch people, and it's gotta sound nice, and it's gotta be like way precise, right?
Yeah.
And so like I'll write the hook for it, and then I'll go into verses and stuff too, because like the hook is kind of a summary of what your verses are about.
Yeah.
And it's the conflict. The first 2 bars should be in the hook. Should be if you're making a conflict resolution song. First 2 bars should be the conflict. Last 2 bars should be the resolution, and then the first verse should be the conflict. The last verse should be the resolution, and so you have the blending of these things. And so that's kind of how I write. In a way as well. What I'll do too is I'll go back and like look at like songwriting books and this and that, and look for stanzas and just kind of like alter different cadences. I'll also look up like international music. Kind of what I was touching on before. Like you can take the cadences from melodies that are being played by instruments. So if a guitar had like dun 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 dun, and I say, "Here we go now, showing up." Now you can take those, and there's so many different cadence lines just in instruments alone.
Yeah.
And so instead of like looking at what other people are doing cadence wise, I like go to classical music. And like there are some cadences, you have this you can put words to that, and here you got a rap song. But people don't even know that I took that cadence from a cellist playing like Mozart's Sonata number fucking 60 fuck or whatever,
Yeah.
So like...
Yeah, Shazam's not finding that one.
No, definitely not. That's like Yo-Yo Ma when he first started,
Oh, geez, yeah.
But like, that's kind of like how I write too. Like I'll kind of just do a little prep work, I'll listen to something. Sometimes I won't like write anything for like a week or two. Because I saw this Drake interview, and he's like, I have to live some of life and get more of the fruits of life before I can come back to it. There are some songs actually where like I don't have a writing process.
Yeah.
And I have to like piece it together like as like sometimes this bar will come on Sunday, this bar will come on Monday.
Yeah.
Like there's just different moments that will make up different things too. And so like there's a lot of that also. You know? And so but when it comes to like full songs, like if I'm really feeling it, like I'll just sit down and take off. I'll like drink a beer and smoke a joint and just kind of go through it and stand up and like iterate like how I'd perform it on stage, how I would, spit it if I had like a duo, another person on it with me, how I would say it in the, this and that and the third. I'm always showing the boys like what'd you think about this? And sometimes we have so much stuff. Sometimes I can see their faces like, all right, bro, that's like the 50th song you've showed us.
Then you're like, start saying some of them are good.
Right. But yeah, that's like, I studied a lot of writing, like, and so the process is really easier now. Like my mom was an English teacher, and so it was it's like kind of putting sentences together, like knowing how to, like, it's really important, children, to know your nouns and adjectives and conjunctions and stuff. Trust. Watch Schoolhouse Rock, man. Like, I guarantee you.
Facts. And then how long would you say it takes you to get a song from like starting it to ready to perform?
Ready to perform?
Yeah. So like how long does it take to like get it to where it's like ready to present to people?
Got you. Okay. So let's see. Normal average writing process. Let's see. Okay. So it used to take me like 2 hours to write a song. Okay. Now it takes me like 20 minutes.
Yeah. But that's writing it. Like, how long would you say it takes you to get comfortable being able to like perform it?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Probably if I was really practicing it, probably like 2 days.
Okay.
Like you practice. I saw this really cool thing with Jay-Z, and he said if you practice something 18 times, do it first 17 times with your paper, the 18th time, throw it away, and I guarantee you'll memorize it.
Oh yeah.
And so I started doing those things, and like they started working, so I was able to like, hey Bremer, we got a paid gig for you like in 36 hours. Like, are you able to do, and I like just finished the song I want to perform. Yeah. It's gonna be in my headphones all night while I'm at work, while I'm here, and I'm just gonna be practicing and practicing and practicing and I've gotten so much trouble at work. They're like, "Why are you always on your phone?" And I'm just like, "'Cause I'm a musician, damn it!" Like
these words.
So I'm trying to work, but yeah, roughly around 2 days. Bigger shows like Bossa Nova Ballroom and like Mission Theater, like I generally will like take a week or two to actually, because it's like an actual set. You're implementing other stuff. Like we just did Mission Theater for hip hop's 50th anniversary.
Oh shit!
And we played with a band.
Okay.
Also, so big shout out to IC Double.
Hell yeah! Oh yeah, big shout out to IC Double.
And it was dope. And so for that we had to like prepare.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 weeks in advance, because there were just so many different elements, so many different opportunities to add those elements.
Exactly. When you play with a band, it opens up such a big dynamic, but it's such a bizarre experience for somebody who, like, not for you because you have experience with multiple instruments, but for somebody who like starts just as a main vocalist, like they get their beats online or they have a person or they do it themselves, never having interacted with that space, like it's wild.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, because you don't understand the communication that goes into it when it's like something you've never had before.
Yeah, like the preparation it takes just to like when people saw us go on stage, like people have no idea. Like we had to type out an entire itinerary, send these beats off, revise our itinerary, go through like mic positions, drum plot, like stage plots, all that. Like they had 3 different decks on stage, so we had to like maneuver and work around. We had to like order stuff. Like it was a huge process, but it was like just for 20 minutes. Yeah. But then it's like, if you really love something, like you'll spend years for that like one moment that might last 15, 20 minutes.
Well, it's like music has to start and end at a certain point. Every performance. You know what I mean? Like the goal is never the single performance. The goal is to continue to do performances.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that especially when you have that much stuff happening, like the presentation goes a long way when the preparation is put into place. Like when people actually take the time to prepare. Yeah. Sorry, I had to fit in as many words with P as I could. That just it shows. Like somebody was, oh man, I wish I could remember who said this, but I was watching something the other day, and this guy was like, you don't have to be 100% choreographed 100% of the time, especially in the beginning. That's like nearly impossible if you don't have a person. Yeah. And like, but if you have specific moments throughout the whole performance, so not just one instance, but specific moments where you just know on this particular downbeat of this particular song, everybody does this at the same time. And then just goes off, and because then it feels like you're like, oh, they've just been on it the whole time. Like those 4 instances make you seem so much more put together. Yeah. Because you took the time to plan out 4 instances where like all of this chaos suddenly moved in unison, and it moves you. Yeah. It has this odd, almost like optical illusion effect.
Yeah, it's very surreal. Yeah. Like once everything comes together, like it was a very cool moment. Like being able to, and I had like played with a band before, But we had been doing like local gigs and things like that. But this was like on another level. And
well, you also picked a really good group of dudes to do it with.
Oh yeah, no, those guys are so talented. You know, it's actually their favorite. One of their favorite artists is King Laz. Like literally, like the drummer Peyton. Like he's such a big fan. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like this is really cool. And their favorite song is one that we did. It's called Ugly. And it's dope, man. It's like just to see like the excitement they get when they play this song is like really cool. And it just means that like me and Laz like touched the spirits of them, and like we actually moved someone to be like, no, I want to play this. I want this as part of my lifestyle. Yeah. Like that was just, it moved me. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm never taking this out the lineup again.
That's a good feeling when you get one that you're like, this is gonna be here for a minute.
Yeah,
like that. That's special.
Yeah,
that's
like Ugly is like
sure.
timeless, man.
Yeah,
like timeless. Like it's the message is delivered in such a way that like everybody in the world will understand that.
Oh yeah.
Like the way he wrote this was just like universally understood. And it was amazing. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta get this, you know? And so it was just a really cool song and a cool experience to do. And just, yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Now, usually this is the point in time where I would ask if you have any like fun or wild show stories, but I feel like you just shared one, and like that one, I feel like that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. We're going to move on to the big question for this section. This is another kind of dense one. We talk a lot about like what music gives us, what happens because of music, why we do music for these things, this thing, you know, that thing. But what is it about the process? What is it about making music that you enjoy the most?
Like the whole
like in the act of creation, like when it's you and the pen and the mic. What is it about that part of the process, the making of the music, that you enjoy the most?
You can be at your most powerful right there. It's like you're going in there and you're in a judgeless, neutral zone where you can express anything you want, write how you want at any given time, and just like it brings something out of you. It brings like the animal out in you. You like the primitive side of it. I love the like instinctual side that music is, like how it's like the craving, like, you know, like the taste for music is like so insatiable, you know. It's just, I feel like a wild animal when I'm in there, and it's just like, it's like I become something else, like when I'm in the booth. And so that process of like diving into your own muses, discovering like where you get this, you know, celestial talent from, like that's the process. That's what I love about it. It's like just the reminder of like, yeah, man, you know you're gonna build this right, and you know it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And so you're excited the whole time because it's like you've learned so much. You know, and so like that whole process I've done like 1,000 times over. And so it's like, oh, I know you go in there and you know what you want to do, and you know how you want it to sound, and it's going to sound exactly like that. And that's just like what I like about it. It's like you know, just building. It's like people love building buildings. Like I love building tracks and
some people
like
love building buildings.
Yeah, some people are building buildings. But I love to like tinker with like, I was always like a tinkerer of sorts, like always building with Legos or like something, but just like the building of a good song and having elements you know are gonna work.
Yeah, the act of creation.
Yeah, and so the fact that you're creating something completely out of thin air, too, at the same time.
That's something that I try to point out often on the show. Is like that music is one of those gifts, like, you know, like that really, it like it doesn't need physically anything other than you.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like storytelling is another one of the things, like things with the voice, because like writing is hard because you need a physical media, painting, sculpting, things like that. But spoken word and music, it can be made with just the person.
Right.
And so it's truly one of the most communicative forms of expression. And so that, you know, that resonates. But that's a really powerful answer. Like, I really like that answer because it sounds like it's both like transformative and empowering for you. And I think that's where it should be. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I know there's some people who write for the sad parts of themselves and like things like that. But I imagine that there's a power in that as well. But I don't think a lot of people acknowledge that. And that's one of the best things music can give to us as individuals.
Right.
So I really appreciate that answer.
Thank you.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and we're going to dive into the last portion, which is all hypothetical questions.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and these are a lot of fun. Sky's the limits. There are no wrong answers because
Sure,
they're all made up. So,
lay 'em on me.
Yeah. And this first one is, if you could work with any one person who's currently alive, and you could work with them in any capacity, who would you work with, and how would you work with them?
Elton John.
Okay.
And I would work with him. We would do like piano duets and like that sort of thing. I'd create something of that nature on piano and like have him play along with me too.
Hell yeah.
And it would just be like this crazy, because I was like, Elton John's dope.
Yeah.
You know, he's a very talented musician.
I mean, you don't have to justify that answer too far past. If you get back Elton John, everybody would be like, yeah. Like, obviously.
Yeah, like, Bremer's got a song with Elton John? That's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm going to listen to this.
Oh, man. When they did the song with Gorillaz, I mean, that whole experience, first of all, that whole album.
I'm telling you.
I have the deluxe vinyl.
No way.
And it's
serious?
Oh, God, it's so special. It's so special to me. Gorillaz is one of those groups for me.
Yeah.
But like that kind of got me through the pandemic. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice.
That whole
Okay,
experience.
cool.
Like, I hope they do more. I hope it's not just the sessions as they were. I hope they're just like, no, this was kind of rad.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's a very solid answer.
Or I should say Sir Elton John.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I don't think he'll be too bothered.
Okay, cool.
But Sir Elton John, if you want to come on the show.
For real.
And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten a chance to work with yet, but you would like to?
A local artist that I'm really aware of that I haven't actually got to work with, and he was actually on your show, Scooter.
Oh, hell yeah. Shout out Scooter.
I've known him for about like a year or so now, and he's just been a really cool guy through and through. And so we've always talked about working, but you know how people get busy and things like that. And we were always like, we'll make it work, man. And so that's one of my goals before the year is out, is get a couple tracks in with him.
Hell yeah. Well, there's still plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limit. So literally, sky is the limits here. If you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or power or building stability, guaranteed best show, guaranteed best lineup, guaranteed best audience, where would you want the show to happen? And like, it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere.
It would actually be on, and just anywhere?
Anywhere.
Elysium.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, Elysium Space Station. Giant space stadium.
Okay.
If there was no, if I had access to everything.
I did say sky's the limits, but I guess that technically comes from.
It's an atmosphere. Here, let's do this. I would do a show like maybe like 20 feet under the ocean.
Okay, so specifically 20 feet under.
Maybe because I don't know how pressure works and all that stuff. But like, if that wasn't a factor, I'd go deeper, obviously. But it would be in the middle of it'd be like in the middle off the Gulf of Mexico, just like right down there, like maybe off maybe by Sanibel, or like Atlantis. Atlantis is another place I'd love to do a show on, but it'd have to be like a dome in the water.
Yeah, you'd have to like go down there after finding it. You have to go down there, put a thing, get in it.
You'd have to take people by like giant cruiser submarines.
Yeah,
and you would just have to go like maybe 20,
preferably
50.
ones that are put together well.
With not a PlayStation controller. So, I don't know what was happening there, but shout out to the families that lost their lives. Yeah. That's super sad. But anyway, that's kind of what I would do. I would love to do some underwater show for people. I think that they would really dig that, you know, and it's just cool, like seeing perform, us playing, and just fish swimming around, actual fish swimming around. You have like coral reefs. You can see the tide, like a venue with 2,000 people would be great.
It'd be like doing a show in an aquarium, but cooler.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. You're in a natural aquarium now.
Hell yeah. And then if you could get an album from anybody who is no longer making music, so they can be alive or dead, but there's no more music is coming from them. If you could get one more album from somebody, who would you want that album from?
Ooh, that is a really good question.
I haven't even thought of an answer for it yet. That's how fun this question is for me.
That's a really good question. Whoa. I would have to say, like, oh man. There's so many.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, this doesn't have to be the one you would want the most. Just anybody.
Oh, just anyone?
Anybody.
Oh.
Just like something, somebody cool.
Oh, John Lennon for sure.
Okay, hell yeah.
John, but he has to play with the Beatles.
Okay.
He has to go back and play with the Beatles.
Yeah. Oh, one more album from the Beatles would hit.
Yeah. I would. You couldn't. I can't like. I know she meant well, but like none of this Yoko shit. Like he needs to go back.
Yeah, the Beatles.
With the Beatles. We need to bring back George Harrison from the dead, and like they need to do like one more tour, and then we can send George and John back up. Like, but that's it. That's John Lennon for sure, because the Beatles were a huge part of my life.
Hell yeah,
like a huge part of my life. So like definitely those two.
And then to wrap up this portion,
gotcha.
If you could add one instrument into your act, what would you add, and would you play it, or would you have somebody else play it? And we'd say we'll say as like a permanent addition, so it would be like a primary aspect.
Gotcha. Okay. Definitely just one instrument.
Yeah.
Can there be sections?
Well, I know you want to answer it with sections because you have knowledge of all the instruments, but let's do a singular
just
one.
A single one?
Single instrument.
Single one. Definitely saxophone.
Okay.
Alto.
Okay.
Just classic alto sax.
Yeah.
Grew up with a lot of smooth jazz. Listened to a lot of Kenny G.
Mm-hmm.
But he played soprano.
Yeah.
But alto for sure. Alto is an instrument I've always like wanted to play.
The saxophone is that kind of instrument. There's somebody far away, thousands of miles away from here. There may or may not be some kid that's learning it right now. And every day I'm just like, yeah, go for it. Like, just keep doing it and get better.
Yeah,
like it's fine if it's bad right now, but in 6 months, it better not be this bad.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
And it, I listen to Masego, and
I love Masego.
He's a
Masego,
really good,
if you ever want to be on the show.
Yo, come to Jimmy's, man, for real. Because he implements like neo soul, R&B, hip hop, and then he just like breaks out into a saxophone, and it's just like this really cool.
Oh, dude, Tadao is like
a
partial narrative of my day to day that lives in my head. Like that song earns royalties off of how much it plays in my head. You know what I mean? Like, God, it was such a game changing moment when it came out.
Yeah,
like and seeing it be done when they did the Red Bull special.
And it was all on the fly.
Yeah.
This was just all on the fly, thin air.
Yeah.
This is just like, you come up with a riff.
Well, have you heard Masego's newest stuff?
Yes.
Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
He is just talented on a different level.
There's one he did with brass tracks called Golden Ticket. You ever heard Golden Ticket? I love Golden Ticket.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah.
That's like one of those songs I would love to like see live. You know, like I
would love to see Masego live.
Yeah.
Like, I have to imagine that's like,
it's good.
That's got to be such an experience.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's like good, like it's like theater good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like,
well,
I
feel like he would bring like a presence to it, not just the music. You know what I mean?
Course,
like, I have to imagine it's an experience.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. Why don't you tell us what you have coming up, say, end of November to like March, April?
End of November to March, April.
Yeah, first quarter of next year. What can we look forward to?
Let's see. Yeah. So wait. I mean, we do have shows coming up before that.
I mean, but like for the people watching it when it first airs, like what can they? Yeah, like
okay.
for the people here for day one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we got we're just gonna be in the lab cooking mostly. We're gonna be putting out a lot of tracks. We have me and King Laz have this group called the Wisemen.
Oh yeah.
And we've been making a lot of good. This is like a really good friend of mine. We've been making a lot of good records. We have a lot, like Ugly's one of them. And so we have many that we're just gonna be getting done and just cooking up. And so we have a lot of like. Our goal now is like to do content and get as much like hype out as possible, like focus on the singles. So we have like 5 singles we're going to be focusing on. We actually have something that we're doing because we have so many tracks, because we make so many, we're having this thing called Wiseman Wednesdays. Where we'll be putting out tracks every other Wednesday, as the Wiseman, and so you can expect at least like every other Wednesday, either first, third, you can expect like a track, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna be like, okay, we got Pressure, as one of them, and then we have Ugly as the other one. And then we'll have the fans vote. Which one do you want us to shoot a video? Which one do you want us to shoot a video for first?
Okay.
And then they'll vote.
Interesting.
Because either one is, like all of our songs are gas, man.
And then the video has to come out on. So if you do like the second and fourth of each month, the video should come out on the third one.
Boom. See?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So the first Wednesday is the only one you take off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you
prepare. Yeah. And get your itineraries right.
Yeah. So you run the poll like that first week. Mm-hmm. And at the end of that first week, they make the decision. You call it. So like Sunday to Sunday, bing, bang, boom.
Yeah.
You come out with that next first one. You come out with the video. You come out with the second first one. And then you go again. I love that.
Yeah. And just keep cycling that. Because a lot of people in the scene now, like a lot of them are like, they're kind of taking breaks. People are getting older. I'm turning 31 next week.
Yeah.
So like.
Oh, well, happy early birthday.
Thank you. But yeah, so it's like we have so much to offer, and so we want to keep it
when it's done. When you have like all the ones you want to put out.
Yeah.
You should do, if you have enough, like say you have 20 songs to put out.
We have like thrice as many.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You should do a double album of all the ones that people picked and all the ones that people didn't
pick. Oh wow.
Yeah.
And we can put it on vinyl.
Oh hell yeah!
Do a whole B-side thing.
Hell yeah! But yeah, like kind of do like Nelly's Suit and Sweat, or what was it? E40's Day Shift Night Shift. Yeah, like
Speaker Box Love Below.
Yep. So like you could do a double album that's like these are all the ones with videos.
Yeah,
and these are all the ones without. Yeah.
Oh man, and yeah, that would be cool.
Hell yeah.
That'd be kind of cool because we have enough.
Yeah, I mean,
we have enough to do that like 4 times over.
Yeah, then like, there you go, just double albums forever.
like that's a lot. Like yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. And then for this next one, go ahead and look at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me on Spotify, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever they call it, at Bremer Baden. Well, X is the real Bremer because there's a lot of Bremers out there. You can find me on Apple Music under Bremer Baden as well. And go stream High Enough with myself, Afro Man, and King Teo, and on all streaming platforms. And go stream Too Lethal by King Laz and Day Finesse from FTD. It's available on all platforms.
Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Yeah, definitely. I want to say a big shout out to my boy King Laz over here. I want to say a big shout out to FTD, F with me, obviously. I want to say a big, huge shout out to local hip hop scene out here. Big shout out to Portland. Big shout out to my boy Casa, my boy DJ Lion, my boy Souffle. Holla at Souffle for the latest clothing. I swear to you, this guy's a champion. Big shout out to Miss Oregon for having us that one night. And big shout out to all the venues that we performed at: Bossa Nova, Mission Theater, Rainbow City, District, like all the clubs. Thank you so much. A big shout out to my parents, my brothers, my family. Big shout out to my childhood friends. And I also want to say big shout out to my haters too, because you make me go the hardest in the paint. Pause too for that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Y'all take notes. That's how you do a shout out.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to go ahead. We got one more question to go. But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Go ahead.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all of the things. I don't know where they are, but you do. And I trust you. And with that being said, the final question. And this one's open to interpretation. So answer it however you would like to. But what is a song that means something important to you?
Mean something important?
Yeah.
Just the Two of Us by Bill Withers.
Hell yeah.
Because it was me and my dad for a while.
Okay.
And so when he got divorced and before he remarried to the wife and mom that we have now, he went through a brutal divorce, and so it was always it was us for a while.
Yeah.
And he would always play that song all the time, and he would always sing that, and it was just something. It was a really big part of helping us recover from that trauma. And so every time I hear it, it just reminds me of my father for sure.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to my dad. I love you, man.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go ahead and get up on out of here, y'all. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Bremer Baden.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.